I've just been meditating quite a bit about the importance of this body language thing that many people don't even pay attention to anymore. There is a lot to be considered when it comes to people communicating, whether it's in London, New Zealand, Paris, South Africa, wherever you are in the Maldives, you have this human factor that you can't escape. The body language, the communication, non-verbal communication that is going as a current between human beings. I'm not sure why it's not used anymore. I have a question for evolutionists, if you like. I don't have the answer to anything. I would say I am a creationist, but obviously I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. But these days it seems a lot of human natures inherent to animals and mankind are lost. Anybody has a reason for that? Let me know, because if you walk down Liverpool Street, you see dead people walking. If you walk down anywhere near the Strand, unless you have a bunch of tourists taking pictures and excited to be in London and seeing foreign things, you just have people shut themselves down and refuse to acknowledge the power of the next person and the power they have within themselves for communication and influencing their surroundings. If you use your beauty and yourself and your strength more often, you'll find that there's so much that you can do to influence other people, to influence yourself. If you dig into that energy, it's there for you to be picked up and spread, if you like. You can cultivate it to develop a skill or another, a skill which will bring you some money or another, bring you some happiness or another. How is it that in a town like London, nobody actually seems to pay attention to it? Because everybody's busy and everybody has no time for this. Nobody wants to know that this person across the road from them is suffering, going from something to another in pain. Nobody wants to open their mind to the fact that we need to take time to eat. We need to take time to look into each other's eyes and listen and be careful. Be careful to the signals our bodies and our minds are sending to our own person, to the universe, to the next person. There are so many signals that one can cultivate, can reap, can work from. If you shut down those signals too often, then what do you have? You have an insensitive, callous, cold person who doesn't want to know what's happening in front of them. And sooner or later, even if you don't want to be like that, it influences your relationships, influences the way you relate to your own self. If you're suffering from a leg wound, for instance, and you know the pain for too long, guess what happens? You get an infection. You could die if your leg gets too infected. Before you know, you have maggots living in there. And the same thing could happen to you spiritually and emotionally. I don't know why people don't understand this. It's really quite basic. We're not made of wood. We're not made of chalk, cardboard, and I don't know what the atheists do to link their mind to that deeper self. What do they call it? I call it spirituality. It's called getting in touch with your subconscious, your emotional strength. And if you have a human being you can reach out to, it's fantastic. But if you have a being that's higher than mankind, even if it's in your mind, you've pictured a being who can do things for you which you can't do yourself, a being who believes in things that you dare not believe in. And there you have it. There is the source of food for humanity. And yet you have people criticizing religion all the time. I don't understand how people can be so disconnected with themselves, lose character, lose sight of what's in front of them, their goals, everything. And well, it's alright as long as they got their mobile phones. Are they securing a deal with Nabisco? Are they taking over some huge company? Have they got a huge boardroom meeting tomorrow? No, they're just looking at Facebook and Instagram. Yeah. And meanwhile, what's inside of them, they don't have time to think about that. There's no time. There's another post, another selfie by some celebrity. We can't miss out on that. There's no time for me. There's no time for my spouse because I am busy. And I don't have time, I don't have eyes to pick up on signals. I'm not sensitive to signals, I'm numb. Because I can't be bothered. It's emotional laziness. And you think of all the gurus and all the charismatic leaders who base themselves on that power, that energy. Anybody can tap into, and people will just spit on it and refuse it. It takes a few minutes, a few hours a day, whatever you have. But taking time to see the truth. Not making up stuff, but looking inwards and seeing, feeling. And that can save a lot of money at a therapist. That can take a lot of stress out. You need to let go of angst and anxieties by monitoring daily what goes on. It's sad to see people just refusing to see what's in front of them. They just refuse eye contact. They refuse to communicate non-verbally. And of course they want to communicate verbally, so what's left? And you know they do the same to themselves because it's a reflex. It's forbidden. It's sad. Artists do this. Artists tap into this too. Performers, stage performers, charismatic stage performers do that. And they have this talent to locate the right positions for body language and facial language. Actors do this very well if they're good. It's not just method, it's this instinctive knowledge of what to go for, to communicate, to anticipate what communication is needed. A lot of people could do that, yet they refuse to take that exit. To me, it's an illness. It is an illness. It's close to sociopathy. People who refuse to be in touch with feelings of other people. It's a fashionable illness, but it is actually almost a pathology. And if it grows on to be like that, it will be worse and worse, and it will destroy a lot of survival instincts in humanity, available to humanity. Those olive branches, those are available to humanity and they're not being used. If you think about it, it doesn't make such little sense. It's actually quite reasonable to consider this. it doesn't take too much pain or too much effort or too much time. It drives me mad every day I see it. People think that they're gaining some superiority by being snotty and by being distant. Yeah, it's a cultural thing for some people, but culture is not an excuse. I hate that word culture when it comes to sort of nervous tics like this. It's repairable. Yeah, everybody has it in them. Okay, goodbye. Just a few words.